we are starting our third season of video production, and to tell you the truth, when I started out, I really didn't think that we would have the quality of video that we have now. And so it's really been a work in progress. We're really having a lot of fun, and I hope that you guys are enjoying our videos. This week we're going to go over some of the video that Zane and I were able to capture during rifle season. We had quite a few encounters. Zane was able to score on a nice buck, and we'll get right to that. We're going right into New York, which every year we like to go up to New York. We don't have property up there, but we do have an opportunity where we can actually hunt a family member's property. So as the morning went on, I got out in the tree stand before light. I didn't see a whole lot of deer early on, and it was pretty slow, quite truthfully. I saw quite a few hunters. I had visibility of quite a bit of field there, and the hunters were really driving the field. The thing about in New York is the day that rifle season for deer starts up, rifle season for bear also starts up on the same day, and so you really don't know how many deer are getting shot at when you hear the shots. But all that I do know is I heard a lot of shots on the opening day of rifle season in New York. So it was a little disappointing. I didn't really see a whole lot of deer, but as the morning went on, deer started to move in my area a little bit more. I ended up seeing right around 6 in the morning, and 6 deer that morning. And so got to about 11 o'clock, and we started to get down out of our stand, scout for a new place, because really we don't scout that property all that often throughout the summer. So we got up into new places. My dad actually harvested a buck and was able to get him out on his own, so that was good to get some meat into the freezer. And so Zane and I went back out for the evening. Really, the evening didn't hold a whole lot for us. Zane saw a couple of does, I believe, and to tell you the truth, I was just completely skunked. We decided that we would come back later on the next week, during the middle of the week, and Zane got into the deer right away, right off the bat in the morning, and I really don't know what to say. Zane's a great hunter. I wish that he would be a little bit more stickly when it comes to self-filming. So he gets out there, and deer are coming in pretty good. He has the camera on, thinks that he pressed record, and he didn't. And so all that we have is the after film from that shot, and it was crazy because he was covered up in deer. He was not able to get out of the stand for like 1.5 hours because there's deer underneath the stand the whole time.
I wish you guys can see him right now. Yeah, spike buck about 30 yards away. We're all running out. They just don't care. Well, I have hardly any battery left, so I keep this short. Nice 7-point came in this morning. Chasing a doe. Set up in his stand. Beautiful morning, cold. Had a little snow on the ground. Nice young buck. New York buck. So that's 2 for me for the year. And I'm done. So really happy to be able to do this. We gotta get this guy out of here and get Evan back in here. These bucks are all over in here. So this is the 4th buck. This one just came in, the 4th buck I saw this morning. And he's still 40 yards away, just walking around like he's crazy. We'll see what happens. Nice young buck. Very happy.
It was so funny to hear what Zane said. You know, he called me and he was talking about how he had been doing his interview, and then this spike came in and made a scrape. He was like, "Oh, I got it on camera too," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So it was just kind of funny. You know, Zane sees a lot of stuff out in the woods, and it's so cool to be able to get that all on camera. And this spike came in, and he made a scrape. He was around him for quite a while, and actually, when I came to help Zane, to video Zane take the deer out and to help him drag it out, I actually bumped that spike because he had just been hanging around there, and it was well past 3 hours after he had killed that deer. So it was pretty interesting nonetheless. I didn't see any deer that day at all, except for when I went in. I did see a deer going in. It was really early in the morning, well before shooting light, and I bumped that deer a couple of times. It just kept going out in front of me. So unfortunately, that day really didn't turn out the best for me. I did see a good group of gobbler turkeys, and it's kind of weird. Whenever I go out turkey hunting, I always end up seeing deer, and whenever I go out deer hunting, I always end up seeing turkeys. So it kind of rubs me the wrong way every once in a while, as I'm sure it does to other hunters out there. It was just great to be able to get out there and to enjoy hunting New York. It's a great state, a lot of opportunities there, and I'm excited about them actually installing the antler restrictions that are now have been in New York or Pennsylvania for quite a while. And here in Pennsylvania, we're starting to see the benefits of it. We're getting more and more mature bucks, and it's just really exciting to see. You know, for me to be able to pass, I passed 11 bucks this year, and most of them are legal. And it's just it's a great opportunity for people who live in Pennsylvania. There's big bucks out there now, and I have no problem passing a 2.5-year-old deer that's an 8-point or a 7-point, because I know that the potential for a 3.5 or a 4.5-year-old deer, it's there. And so I'm really looking forward to going into this late season in Pennsylvania. But before we go to that, I want to show you the footage that we captured in Pennsylvania. I hunted the whole season. I saw a few deer, and it was just it was a great time all around. I didn't see a shooter buck, but had some great footage of the 7-point that came in on opening day. We got all set up. We got out really early. It was like I got up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, got my shower, and got all my stuff on. We headed out right around 3:30 in the morning. We headed up the hill. It was a mountain actually, and it took us a while to get up there. I originally thought it was probably around 45 minutes to an hour or something like that. Ended up probably about an hour and 20 minutes. But we had quite a bit of time before the sun got up. We were in the stand and all strapped in, had all our stuff on, and the sun wasn't even beginning to peek up over the mountain. So we had quite a bit of time to settle in, and it was a great morning. We got to see the sun come up, and we did a little bit of grunting. We heard a deer come up over the hill and stop right on the edge, and that's we're up on the very top of a mountain, and we're about 2.5 miles off the road, something like that. And those deer, they come running up the mountain from pressure that's down closer to the road. They come up to the top of the mountain, and then they stop on the sides to catch their breath. Well, we heard that deer come in, and we thought it was doe, but you never can tell, so I hit the grub tube a couple of times, and I started hearing something walking farther on out the ridge, coming towards us. So I heard that deer coming in, and we waited a little bit, and then it stopped. Then I grunted 2 more times, and here, sure enough, he started coming in. And my first reaction was, oh, it's a shooter buck, because I saw the antlers were they were out to the ears, and in this area, the genetics aren't really the best, and neither is the nutrition. But that is changing, and as this buck came in, I started to look at his body a little bit more, and I saw that he was a 2.5-year-old deer. My goal at the beginning of the season was a 3.5-year-old deer. So when this buck came in, he was around us for like 15 minutes, and he really rubbed it in, offered me quite a few shots. It's a beautiful deer. I would have been very pleased with his antlers, but he's a 2.5-year-old deer, not expressing a whole lot of his potential. He's right about 65% of his potential as a 2.5-year-old deer. So I decided to let him go. Next year, he will most likely be a giant if he made it through the rifle season, and we'll make it through the late archery and muzzleloader season. But that day just continued on, and I rattled quite a bit. I got really cold, especially it was my feet. I didn't really have the best footwear on. I had my hiker boots, and I had wool socks on, but as I was coming up the hill, I had sweated. My feet had sweated, and whenever your feet get wet, they're much more prone to the cold. And so what I ended up doing was I was wiggling my toes all the time, and it got so I really couldn't move my toes anymore. So what I ended up doing was taking my boots off and putting my feet underneath my legs to try to warm them up. And it got to like 2 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I really couldn't bear it anymore. So at that particular spot, if you don't get them earlier on in the morning, it's kind of hard to pack out at night because we don't have tacks going down the other way. So what Zane decided to do was to get out of the stand and to walk around, try to push some deer to me. We did see a couple of deer. We could not tell if they were mature bucks, and it worked out well. That's probably one of the best first day places that you can find on public property that we've found yet. We really can't tell you where it's at. That's just the way it works. But we've had a lot of success there. Zane's taken some really nice bucks, or if it doesn't work out that we end up with a archery buck next year earlier on in the season, we're probably going to end up going right back to that same place on opening day, because it's just the potential is there. We've seen giants there, and for that area it is just amazing to be able to find bucks that are over 150 class deer. So we're really excited about that spot in particular. But when we came back to our place, I was hunting a buck that Zane and Robin saw, that I saw a couple of times. He's just a really symmetrical 8-point. Probably going to score in the 130s, maybe 140s. He's a 4.5-year-old deer, so he is definitely on my hit list. But I never spotted him, never saw him. It was really slow when we got here at our properties, and I went originally to a place down in Zane's creek bottom, and that's a really good stand. I got in there early. It was beautiful when I got in. Got up in the tree stand, got all strapped in, got my camera up, and then the snowstorm blew in, and I'm not kidding, it was beautiful. Only thing was it did blow in, so there was quite a bit of wind, and at one of those points the wind blew so incredibly fast that it just kind of rocked my tree back. I'm about 50 feet up in the air, and for this rifle stand, it's not a bow stand. Bow would not be able to handle that much of a drop. But that wind was blowing, and I'm going back farther and farther and farther and farther, and I'm like, okay, when is this going to stop? Because it just really blew back, and you know, it really makes you respect how high up in the tree you are. That weatherman gets it wrong too often. It's beautiful. I'm not afraid of heights. I'll tell you what, when that wind blows, it sure makes me respect how high up the tree I am. As the days went on, I resorted to a swamp stand at our property, and that we really, tell you the truth, we let it go as long as we can because it's kind of a sanctuary for the deer. But one of the things that kind of really messed up the season this year was it was unusually warm. Alright, this is the beginning to middle of December, and we were having 40-degree nights and sometimes 60-degree days. And the deer just don't really move. They don't have any reason to move. It's not cold enough to make them need to eat, which really is what drives them at that time of the year. It's post-rut. They're getting ready for the second rut, and so I was toying a little bit with rattling. I like to tickle the tines. I really don't like to go full out like I would during the rut, but the deer just were not moving. They would move just before dark and just before it got light, and I didn't see a whole lot of deer, didn't see a whole lot of sign. We're going to be heading out for some late archery. I'm really excited about that. This is going to be my first time ever hunting late archery season, so I'm primarily a bow hunter. I really enjoy that, so I'm going to be in my element, and hopefully the weather will be cooler than it's been, so the deer will get up and they'll move to feed sources, and hopefully we'll get some deer on the ground. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and please remember to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Google+, and to like us on Facebook, and always remember to thank God for the blessings that He gives us, and also to spend time in His Word. Thanks a lot for watching.